So another issue that's really important to me and that I'm running on for Lodi City Council is criminal justice and mental health reform, because they pretty much go hand in hand, and it affects so many different aspects of Lodi. And I just think City Council really needs to address this, because over the past 3 decades or so, criminal justice, the police department in total, has just been expanding, growing, and has taken a huge chunk of the budget. But that is because the government and the people have just thrown all of their issues on the police department. That includes going to schools and dealing with kids, and that includes just going out and dealing with homeless whenever they get a call of that nature. So, my thoughts, my plans, is to switch that up, reorganize things, have some organizations here in Lodi that have been working with the police department to continue working with the police department and get some of that funding, so there's more of a focus on mental health. So we get nurses to interact with children at school, we get social workers to interact with the homeless, and we get the police department to deal with the actual criminal activity and violent activity. And I know there's been a lot of protests going on all around the country. I've been participating in some of the Black Lives Matter protests here in Lodi, and I've been listening to everybody's thoughts on this whole matter. Of course, there's a whole systemic racism problem just built into some of this criminal justice as well. President Trump even acknowledged this and signed an executive order to kind of work on some of that reform. So even President Trump agrees with some of the stuff that I'm running on. And so the executive order he signed is helping some of the stuff that I'm pushing for. I'm for more mental health assistance, more money to mental health workers, having them deal with some of those issues in society, some of those social issues in society, and then having the police deal with more criminal activities, because I keep hearing from my neighbors around here how, like, not police, mailboxes have just keep getting broken into. Some people try and blame the homeless, but I feel like they blame the homeless for everything. And not too long ago in my neighborhood, we had a lot of break-ins into our cars, and even some into their houses. Thankfully, the crime has reduced and police have been getting more involved. But if they have to keep dealing with all of society's problems, they won't have the time or the manpower or any of that to really deal with the criminal activity. So that's what I'm focusing on. That's what I'm really for. And well, that one's gonna take a long time to do, because this whole issue is just huge, heavy, and I don't know. There's just so much to it. Other things in terms of reform when it comes to the police department is like requiring de-escalation, banning chokeholds and strangleholds, require warnings before shooting, exhausting all alternatives before shooting, requiring officers to intervene when fellow officers are using excessive force, banning shooting moving vehicles, a ban on shooting moving vehicles, comprehensive reporting, making sure, this was another thing President Trump did in his executive order, making sure that bad police officers don't just move from one police department to another. So there's a database of police officers and their history, and we also need to focus on the police officers' mental health. And police in general just need more training. I've seen and listened to so many podcasts with former and current police officers and military personnel, and just talking about ways we can really improve our police. And one of the things is just more training. That's just really how it is in life. Practice makes perfect. You just got to keep on training, and as long as you keep on training, you should be able to handle these situations a little bit better. So So there's just a lot of stuff to do when it comes to policing, police reform, criminal justice reform, mental health reform, bringing in all these different organizations, working with racial organizations like the NAACP. I've been working with NAACP's Stockton branch president Bobby Bivens when it comes to some of his thoughts on police reform. Um, I was looking at the website 8 Can't Wait, but I heard of another website that talks about some of these police reforms. And I reached out to Lodi Breakthrough Project to, because I know that they have worked with the Lodi Police Department when it came to hate crimes. That's just one instance that they can help out. And then I talked to some retired nurses when it comes to just mental health care and funding and all that sort of stuff. So, yes, it will cost some money. Some money might have to be rearranged from one department to another or whatnot. But we still probably will need to keep a decent amount of money for the police departments, because if they need more training, they're going to need more money for that training. I'm sure there's some money to be looked at, to be redirected within the police department as well. But there's just so much stuff to look over. That's just one of the issues that's really dear to me, I guess you can say.